Hey guys, welcome back to the Dialed In Podcast. This is the low equity edition. Today we are joined by Bob O'Brien. Again, he's becoming a mainstay on this, which I always appreciate. Thank you so much, Bob, by the way.
You bet.
As always, we are sponsored by RocketBotLeads.ai. They are our provider of brand new on-market MLS Direct low equity data. We're hitting them way before everyone else is. So if you want to use them, our affiliate code is down below. We would love for you guys to use that. Bob, before we get started and before I give you the floor, I have a question to ask you. This is going to be a new feature on our podcast, and you're the first person that I'm going to do this with, so I apologize in advance.
That's all right.
If you had to choose one outfit to wear every single day for the rest of your life, what would that outfit be and why?
You mean like clothing, huh?
Yeah.
So I almost always wear some version of a cargo pant. I like the extra pockets. I just bought a couple new less battered ones out of Cabela's the other day. So I almost always wear that. I'm experimenting. I guess it depends upon the temperature. I'm experimenting with this kind of shirt. I haven't found many with pockets. And I'd like to have a pocket. And so I know a lot of people who use pocketless shirts, and I like a pocket, but I found some down, again, at Cabela's to try. Prior to that, I wore, I don't know what to call it, I guess I've heard people call them fishing shirts. You know, they hang above the belt or hang outside the belt. They're kind of longish. They've got pockets here. They button up. You can get them made in different fabrics and things like that. You can clearly get ones which are designed for fishing and SPF this. I don't usually like, but I like the style with that. So I guess.
You're a comfort guy.
Yeah.
I love that. You know, I think that, so by the way, that's not going to be the question I ask every single day, but I think that some of these things kind of enlighten others on, you know, the way that we all live, right? Like I'm the same way as you. I want to wear something comfortable, and I don't care if it's fancy or nice. Most of the time I don't wear shoes. So, you know, whatever we're most comfortable with.
Right.
But now that we know what you would choose to wear every single day if you had to choose one thing, tell us about yourself, what you're doing, and how people can work with you.
My name is Bob. I'm an older guy, obviously, retired. Psychologist by profession, wore an Army uniform as a psychologist for about 10 years, worked for the VA for about 25 years, I don't remember.
Hey, Bob, have we talked about this before?
I don't know that we had. I just thought I'd say something different this time.
No, I'm glad you did.
In terms of my background?
My wife was the chief of psychology at the Long Beach VA before we moved out here.
Oh my gosh, I was chief of psychology at the Austin VA. I had 25 psychologists working for me. So
wow,
is she still with the VA?
No, she just retired a couple years back.
Oh wow, okay. I retired 10 years ago. So interesting world.
Yeah, small world. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but
that's all right.
You don't meet a whole lot of VA psychologists all that often.
That's right. What else about me? So I've been doing real estate for a number of years. It's always been single family. Always gone to the bank, knocked on the door, provided credit, provided down payment, and so on and so forth. I got involved a bit in multifamily, so we've owned and operated a 24 unit and owned and operated a 54 unit. About, I don't know, a couple years back, the debt market for multifamily got so disastrous and so dangerous, in my judgment, that we sort of didn't do any more of that. And so then the question is, what are we going to do? And we decided we'd go back to the idea of longer-term rentals. I didn't like short-term rentals, dabbled in my head, but didn't like that. But didn't want to go to the bank. So now you got to do creative. Where to do that? I didn't know squat about that. Somewhere along the line, I started watching Pace, and so I joined Sub2 a year and a half ago or something like that. Ground up, starting. So I manage my own. I got 15 long-term rentals. I manage my own properties, so those are easy. That's easy for me to do, to manage them. But the whole business of knocking on doors and cold calling, that was much more of a challenge for me. So trying to be better at that.
Well, thanks as always for joining us. So it's just the two of us today.
Okay.
So I think what would be kind of interesting today is to have a little bit of a look inside of your business and how we can possibly continue to move things forward.
Okay.
Right. And so, we were talking a little bit before we started recording here, and it sounds like for you, as it is for a lot of people, the idea of waking up every day and just getting on the phone with other distractions can be challenging. Right. So from a user's perspective and also from a psychologist's perspective, what's the best way for you to either do you block out time? How do you set it up so that you can have time to focus on your day, given all the other distractions that you have?
So I try, and I really, as I think I said, my wife was in the hospital for a few weeks. We're just digging out of that. So what I'm trying to do is set aside a couple hours of each day to do calls, and sometimes those couple hours includes creating lists and going on Privy and all that sort of stuff. It's really hard for me to get more than 2 hours out of a day, given the other stuff that I've got on, and I've got to allocate time to manage the long-term rentals we have and so on and so forth. And so my thought has been that, given the time limitations that I've got, that maybe what I ought to do is trying to do the kind of things we're doing now and make calls and find deals and whatever, but then pass them on to someone like you, for example, to do the final closing, and we do a JV thing, and I'll give up a good chunk of the profit, if you will, but then I'm not on the hook to try to do this, to dispo myself. I'm not on the hook to try to manage the TC. It's myself, because that would take time and energy I might not have. And although theoretically I know how to do those two things, if you said, Bob, here's a contract, it's good. You got a 10-day period. Go dispo it. I'd go hum. And so it would reduce. I think, again, I'm just sort of thinking out loud. It would reduce my stress if I said I don't really need to do that. I just need to focus on finding deals that seem like they're going to be deals, and I've got responses back from the agents where they seem to be like, yeah, let's do this, and then I would parse that off to maybe to you or someone like that. I don't know if that makes sense or.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are lots of people in our community and surrounding areas who are happy to help, obviously, right? And a lot of people have different strengths in different areas. I'm the same way. If you have me look at a contract, no, thank you. I just need to know when I need to cancel the contract by and when I close.
Yeah.
That's all. You just tell me what those two dates are.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to some calling. So you have the list.
Okay.
And it's a brand new, fresh list, brand new on-market data. So let's make some phone calls and see where we can take this.
Okay. Just pick anywhere in the list to start.
Pick anywhere you want. And you don't have to mute yourself since it's just the two of us today.
So leave the mic open.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm trying to start maybe with a little negative cash in the pocket, and then of course so many of them have high interest rates that.
Yeah, think of those as just even practice sessions.
Yeah.
Right, practicing the pitch.
Yeah.
If it's a very large negative equity situation, my first question is always, is this a short sale? Yeah. And of course, if so, has this been approved by the bank?
Yeah, that makes sense. Realizing my eyes can't see the small print, so I got to increase the size of the print.
I have to do that these days too.
Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. My name's Bob O'Brien. I'm calling about your listing on Timberlake Drive.
Yes.
So I'm out of Texas, as you can probably see from my area code. I've got, I guess, 15 long-term rentals down here, and I'm looking to expand. I'm an investor, obviously. Are you an investor? I know some agents are and some aren't.
I am not.
Okay. So as you likely know, when you have as many mortgages as I've got, the traditional banks do run away when they see me coming. And so I'm forced to go to either hard money or private money or a DSCR loan. Most of the time, that just makes the deal not pencil out as even close because of the high interest rates. So I'm really stuck. This is like searching with a needle in a haystack. I'm really stuck with trying to find someone who might be interested in having someone take over their payments, me pay your commission, me pay the closing costs, you put some money in the seller's pocket and go from there. I have no idea if that's the case for this one or that would work.
Yeah, I don't think that would work in this situation.
Okay.
They need to get out of the mortgage and they don't have, extra funds.
Yeah.
Seller financing.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that would not work.
Okay. Is it, so I always like to test my software. It looks like it's a low equity kind of situation, or no? It is. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Is it bad enough that they're likely to have to write a check to get out of it?
Pretty close.
Okay. So it sounds, I'm kind of thinking in my head here, it sounds like when they get the sale done, they're not going to walk with anything or close to anything?
Correct.
Okay. Have you had the conversation with them about somebody taking over payments? I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it gets them out. It may put money in their pocket, but apparently they don't like that idea. Or
yeah, these are young people. I can approach the subject with them, but I don't think that they're going to be on board for that.
Right. Okay. What do you think their objective?
I mean, the answer is always no if you don't ask the question.
That's true. That sounds right. So I'm trying to see that I've got your email. It's hold on for a second. I got to open a column on a spreadsheet here. It's Michelle.Whitaker@ERA American, something like that. Does that sound right?
That's correct.
Okay, great.
That's correct.
Great. Obviously, I have your phone number, so I will kind of put pencil to paper and see kind of what that would look like, and then when I get back in touch with you. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. I got a quick question for you while I'm on the phone with you.
Of course.
I have a listing that will be coming up. It's a townhome, and it has a renter in place.
Uh-huh.
So if that's something that you would be interested in, that'll be listed within the next month. It's going to be
Sure.
right around 310.
Sure. Sure. That would be fine. Number one, I'm not in the business of kicking people out of their places if they're renting. If they've got a good rental history, I think it's great for them to stay. It works better if
rental history, and I think the lease is up at the end of July.
Okay. So that would not be a problem. Do you know what the rental rate is for them? About?
I think it's $1,900.
Okay. Well, sure. That might well be of interest because it gives me if the numbers would work out, it gives me a way to have another property, and I don't even have to search for a tenant. It's already there.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So I will send you an email with a little video update from me about the basics of what we talked about for Timberlake.
Okay.
One of the options that we have, some agents like this, some don't, is that if they're willing to say, well, it's kind of interesting enough to have a discussion about, they don't have to say yes, it's too early in the game. We can all jump on a Zoom or video or whatever they call it nowadays, and kind of talk it through. Some folks like that, some don't. But if it's something that you'd be interested in, they'd be interested in, I'd be happy to do it.
Good. Well, thanks for the call, Brian. I appreciate it. I look forward to your email.
You bet. I'll send it out the next hour or so, probably.
Okay. Have a good one.
You bet. Bye-bye.
So other than the fact that she called you Brian.
Yeah, I noticed that.
That's okay. What did you... Let me tell you what I thought of that call really quickly, if you don't mind. What I love about your calls, Bob, is your patience.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of people who will rush through these phone calls.
Right.
because they feel like they have to get out what they want to say before they're interrupted by the agent.
Right.
Whereas you have enough experience to really understand that you don't have to speed up. In fact, sometimes it makes much more sense to slow down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So much more so that they have to listen to you.
Right.
And I love that you're patient on the call. There was a point during that call where you kind of paused for a second. You were thinking, right? And it was a beautiful moment because she was just kind of hanging there with you. There was no, hey, I got to go. I'm in the middle of lunch or whatever.
Yep.
And I think that the reason that she hung with you is just because you set it up with your tone and your the speed of your voice early on in the phone call. So great job there. I love, let's see, what did I write down? I loved your reaction to when you said this is a low equity, or no, your question was, is she going to have to write a check, or are they going to have to write a check? And she said yes, and your reaction was, ooh. I loved it. Because there are a lot of people who will fake that.
Yeah.
Ooh, But if you really take that feeling in, this, if you take the feeling in, then you're much more likely to communicate it effectively.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you think about the call?
I was pretty happy with it. I felt in the past I've tried to talk over agents, so I've tried deliberately not to do that. It sounds like I pretty much did that, avoided that. I still think I wasn't, so I get torn with how, I don't know what the word for it is, how fluent or how, quote, smooth, quote, I am when I talk. Because at least when I'm talking with someone who calls me out of the blue, when they're really, really smooth, I just know what they're after, right? Mm-hmm. And that turns me off. So I'm not sure how smooth I want to get. I think I came across as pretty genuine.
I agree.
I think I came across as I'd like to help solve a problem. I probably didn't do that as well as I would like, but the seller's got a problem. They have to write a check to sell.
That is the problem,
and that's a problem for them. And if I can come in and again, it all depends on the numbers, but if I could come in instead of having them write a check for, I think the spreadsheet said 6 or something like that, or I don't remember exactly what it is now, then I could give them a check for, I'm making up numbers, 4 or 3 or 5. I mean, that could easily be a $10,000 swing on there from out of their pocket to in their pocket.
Yeah.
And if they're trying to go something, but anyway, I guess.
What do you think? Sorry to interrupt you, Bob. Sorry. What do you think when the agent said that they're a young couple, they probably can't do something like that? Now, those were two parts of the conversation,
right.
But I'm just trying to piece it all together here. Why do you think they couldn't do that?
Well, that's a question that went through my head, and it went on faster than I could get it out of my mouth. Because I was going to try. I was trying to find a way to get to the question of, so what do you think their objection is? And I don't think I really got to that. And that would have been a perfect example, a perfect time in which to say that. Why, if essentially if they're getting out with no cash or writing a check. Why do they need to move? Where are they moving to? What's up? I mean, not staccato like that, but young couples. Why does a young couple who's just bought a house in the last few years need to get up and move? Again, I wouldn't ask that question to the agent that way, but in the back of my head, I was wondering if they were going. I was wondering if the agent was going to say it's a young couple, they got to move, they're getting a divorce. Or they're breaking up, or whatever. But they didn't. She didn't say that. And I decided it was too invasive a question to ask, and I didn't want to have her experience me as dissing her sellers, for example. And so.
So you tried to come back to it, though, right?
Yeah.
You kind of circled back without asking that specific question or those specific questions, trying to see what their appetite was for this type of a transaction.
Right.
I'm just kind of curious, do you think that you did not ask that question because in your mind you already made up what the end result or the story was going to be, and you changed your response because maybe you thought that it was a divorce?
I don't think that that I had the conscious thought of it's not a divorce, so don't ask that. But I do remember having the thought of she didn't volunteer that, and a lot of times if it's a divorce situation, the agent will say, "Oh, they got to leave because they're in a divorce," and she didn't say that or volunteer that. So I think I ticked that off as probably not the case, but if it is the case and she chose not to share it at that point, when that's the typical point to share it, it didn't make sense to push on it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think that some people would have tried to pry a little bit more and see why they couldn't
Yeah.
do something like that.
Yeah.
As always, there's no one right way or wrong way to do this sort of thing, but I think you kind of have to feel it out.
Yeah. That
And
makes sense.
and I think you probably felt it out the right way.
Okay.
I'd be really curious, maybe on the next call, to kind of dive in a little bit with them and say, I know that you said they couldn't do this to begin with, but just out of curiosity, if you're willing to tell me what's the situation here, why do you think this may not be a good fit for them?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then take it from there.
Yeah.
But I think otherwise it was a really good call.
Good.
I liked your tonality. I liked your speed. I loved your reaction to her saying that it was low equity and that they'd have to write a check. So overall, really good call.
Yeah, it's interesting. I asked the question about is it low equity because I wanted to go down that line. The other thing that I wanted to do is I know people who use all sorts of different software packages and they say the data is crap. So it was also a chance to check and see if what's the name of the
Prop stream?
Say again?
Prop stream?
No. The name of where you got the RocketBot or something like that.
RocketBot Leads, yeah.
It was just a chance to say, so did RocketBot get it correct in this time? And they did. Apparently, the exact number maybe, but maybe not. But the exact number doesn't matter. It's really low equity. They may have to write a check is good enough at this point, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What we take into account when we look at that number is typically they're going to pay commissions and closing costs.
Right.
We can estimate those.
Right.
We have a really good idea of what the mortgage balance is, and so that's what's in that data too.
Right.
And so as long as we're in the same ballpark, it's helpful.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right. Good job.
Okay.
Let's get on another call.
Okay. I want to put some notes in the spreadsheet. So
Please take your time.
So I don't have to be dependent upon my memory, but you go ahead and call because I'll keep listening.
Take your time. Let's see what I can do here.
Hi, this is Kim Branson with Cold Anchor. I'm sorry that I'm not.
All right. Whenever you're ready, you're up. I couldn't get a hold of anybody.
Okay, so go for another one. I'm still working on some notes here.
Sure. I'm going to share my screen to do it.
Hello?
Hey, Jennifer, this is Mike Jackson. How you doing?
Hello?
Jennifer, can you hear me?
Oh no, she answered and
You could hear me, right, Bob?
I could hear you fine.
Okay. Might be an issue with the way that I'm sharing my screen here.
So you're using your CRM to make the call?
I was using the CRM to make the call, yeah, and trying to connect through the audio. So that was probably the issue.
Okay. Want to try it again since you answered?
No, because my phone is over here recording something else.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be able to call using a phone. So
Okay.
why don't you go ahead?
Okay.
We've got to get your son in here too.
Yeah.
To make some calls with us.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Adam.
Hey Adam, my name is Bob O'Brien. I'm calling about your listing on Harris Hawk.
Okay, yeah.
Great, so it's still around. So I guess it just came on market, huh? Looks like.
Yeah, I think we came onto the market about 2 days ago, late on Sunday.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, so I'm obviously out of Texas, and let me sort of tell you what I'm about so I don't waste your time. I'm an investor. I've got like 15 long-term rentals in San Antonio and Austin and Round Rock and around there. I'm looking to expand. One of the consequences. So, are you an investor yourself, or no? Some agents are and some aren't.
No, just strictly on the residential
Okay.
side, not too much into investing.
Okay. So when you have, I don't know, 15, 20 mortgages, whatever I have, and you go knock on the door of a bank and say, hey, I'd like a new loan for a new house, they say, go away. We don't trust you. Go away. So makes no sense. They'll say they'd love to talk to a first-time homeowner, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So what I'm stuck doing is private money, hard money, DSCR loans, and the interest rates on those things are really outrageous. And so I have to try to figure out other ways to expand my portfolio, buy properties. And it's kind of like searching for a needle in a haystack because it doesn't work for a lot of people. But one of the things that I do is I come in, I take over the payments on a mortgage, I pay your commission, I pay all the closing costs, put some cash in the seller's pocket. Is that something that's even the ballpark of what you think might work with the seller?
Oh, on this one, that might be a possibility.
Okay.
It would kind of just matter on the terms and
Oh, sure.
everything like that.
Sure.
Liability moving forward.
Sure. That makes perfect sense. So I never know if the software I've got is actually doing its job. If it's doing its job, it's suggesting that it's a pretty low equity situation. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Well, this might well work. So I got to ask the question: where's Ruskin, Florida?
Sorry. Oh, it's I'd say it's about 40, 30 minutes from Tampa.
Okay.
More south, going towards like the Sarasota. Going
Okay.
Towards
Yeah.
between Tampa and
Yeah. Okay. So I got my degree out of UF up in Gainesville, but I didn't get down south. But I thought I should know where Ruskin is, but I don't. Okay. So I guess the next step is I'll kind of flesh out the real basics, and I'll put something in an email, and I'll send you a video that goes over that. And if you can have a conversation with the seller, that would be helpful. My experience in doing this is a lot of sellers start out with, why would I want to do that? Which is a really good question. My brain was listening into my mouth and said, that sounds kind of disrespectful, which is not my intention. But any seller is going to say, how does this work? How am I protected? What does all this look like? So I kind of see this as a kind of the initial conversation. If further down the road and all this, it makes sense for you and me and the sellers to get on the phone together, or on a Zoom or something like that, to help them understand and help me understand kind of what's up for them. Do you know anything? This may not be my business, but it's sometimes helpful in solving their problem. Do you know why they're moving, or how long they've been there, or?
Yeah, so basically, I don't know what you can see on your side. There is an assumable mortgage right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's about like $360K left on that mortgage, give or take.
Yeah.
That is something that they're okay with having it assumed. They're really just trying to not get rich off of it.
Yeah.
Just sell it and move on. Yeah, just relocating and things like that.
Yeah.
So they're just had the house and now they need to relocate. So they're just trying to cut their losses and move on.
Sure, makes sense.
That's kind of where they're at.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you know where they're going? It's always interesting to wonder where they're going to and where people are moving to, or maybe they don't know at this point.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure where they're relocated.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. This sounds like it's probably worth another conversation. So I will. Your email is asollazzo@gwrealty.com.
Correct.
Okay. I was going to try to pronounce the last name, and I thought I'm not. Salazzo. Okay. Okay. It actually looks just the way it's pronounced. I apologize for that. Okay. I will kind of send you an email and send you a little video of me and talking a little bit about it, and we'll go from there. Does that make sense?
Sounds good. I'll keep an eye out for it.
Great. Thank you much.
Have a good one.
You too, Adam. Bye-bye.
Bob, really good call again.
Yeah, that was let me write the okay, yeah, so one of the things that I didn't do was to say, so no, this is an assumption, this is a sub 2. I wouldn't call it sub 2, but I kind of decided that it sounded like he might not know, and I didn't want to hit a button that made him turn off on me. So I thought we could deal with that down the road, but I wasn't sure about that.
I agree 100%. I think you have to pick and choose your battles, right?
Yeah.
What you don't want to do, what I see a lot of people do, is spit out every bit of information that they've ever learned about sub 2 on the first phone call. And the best thing that you could possibly do is just, Pace talks about shooting, he's a sniper. That's the analogy he uses. He goes, look, I'm going to take one thing, I'm going to hammer on that thing today. Next time, I'm going to hammer on this thing.
Right.
And you have to think, too, about how much further along you could be on that phone call or in that relationship by trying to educate him on everything that you know about.
Right.
And the answer is it's not going to take you any further than it is.
Yeah. That it may take you backwards.
It might take you backwards, right?
Because what you don't want to do, I don't think, is appear like you're pounding on him. So a question for you. I kind of thought in my head, I've never actually used it on a call, but I had it in the background of my head, and I used it here, which was my brain actually did listen in on my mouth and say, wait, that didn't come across the way I wanted to, but I actually used that language to try to get myself out of that. And for the agent, it seemed to be okay to do that.
100%. It's funny because if you didn't tell me that you were a psychologist before this, which you didn't,
right?
I was picking up on a lot of things from you with regard to how you connect with people in a very unique way. And I think that you read situations really, really well. And so you just did that right here.
Okay.
That agent didn't have to know everything, obviously. He brought up the assumption. You don't even have to, that's not the road that you want to go down right now.
Right.
Not even close.
Right.
So let's get him some information and let's kind of see how that relationship builds.
Yeah. Really what I want to do is get to the next step of providing some information and see if he'll then go to the seller and kind of present the basics. Because I don't think I really want him to present a whole lot of detailed information because nobody might get it wrong. And number two, if they have an objection, I don't want him to be the one answering the objection.
That brings up a great point. So I told you about a phone call I had right before this call with a fellow Sub2 member. And what we talked about, one of the topics at least, we talked about helping an agent and a seller understand the process by creating a library of explanations for how this process goes.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
And so, what I've done, you can see it. I'll show you after this. But what I've done is I've created maybe 5 or 6, I think maybe even 10 videos of what happens if this happens or this happens. And what I love to do is try to control the conversation as much as I can without the agent trying to explain something that they don't completely understand to the seller.
Right.
I want to be able to send them something and say, look, I see that this is your primary objection. It makes perfect sense. Let me show you what the proper response is in this recorded video.
Right.
And so maybe you can start to think about for yourself, what are the 5 most common things that you're going to be hit with by an agent or a seller?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or even from a seller standpoint, what would you want to know and take that perspective on it?
Right.
And you can just say it in your head. If I were the seller, I would want to make sure I am whatever, covered by the case of default, insurance, whatever it is.
Right.
But I think that would be really helpful so that you can help just control the conversation moving forward.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, great call, though. Really, really good. That call felt very similar to the previous call to me.
Yeah.
In the sense that you were kind of picking and choosing your battles on them. And you were also laying a really solid foundation for that relationship, which is going to benefit down the road for sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Let's get on one more phone call.
So a technical question. I see that you're looking right in the screen as if you're looking to me. Where's your camera?
It's so funny you say that because I was just noticing the same thing. My camera's right here.
Okay.
And I have you right here.
Okay.
And I also have a camera here. Here, I'll show you. Can I bring it up? I don't know if I can bring it up. I can't. But anyway, yeah, no, I am. It's convenient. It looks like I am looking directly at you.
Yeah. So you've got the camera straight on. So that's what I see. But your monitor is off to the side.
So my camera is right at 12 o'clock. You're at my 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Right here.
Okay.
My screen is facing me directly.
Okay.
But just the way that I have my window open for the browser, you're at my 11 o'clock.
Okay. Okay. And the camera is. I'm trying to figure out how do you get a camera right in front of your face? It's just sitting on a tripod, or
no? It's attached to the top of my computer screen.
Okay. It has a little arm that drops down.
Yeah. Let me see.
Because I've got my webcam is at the top of the monitor, but if I looking right at the monitor, I'm not. Well, it's interesting because does it look like I'm looking directly at you now?
No.
No, that's.
I mean, now it does actually, right? Yeah, it's close enough.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine for things like Zooms and things like that.
Right.
There's a software where you can actually change your eye contact. Like if you're recording, for example, I can be looking this way.
Yeah.
I mean that way.
Yeah.
But my eyes they'll be changed so it looks like I'm looking directly at the camera. Which is kind of cool. It is really cool.
Yeah. Okay. You're up, I think, huh? You got to make a call here.
Let me try here. I'm afraid that no one will be able to hear it, though. That's my problem. You know what, Bob? Let's do this because I'm going to struggle, I think, with this is our new platform that we're trying to use. I'm going to struggle with getting the audio on. So what if we just called it a day today? You've made 2 phone calls.
Yeah.
You've done great.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, Bob, as always, thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate it. We also appreciate your guys' support as well. Like, subscribe, do all the things that my kids say to their iPads when they are trying to create videos. We want to have more people watch these, so
Great.
we appreciate your support.
You bet. Glad to do it.
Yeah, Bob, do me a favor. Keep your window open on this for a little while this processes, okay?
Okay.
So I'll hop off. I'll stop the recording, but just keep it open for a little while.
Okay.
Okay, about 10 minutes or so.
Okay. So I got to keep. Do I need to keep looking at the camera, or it's? I just need to keep the window open so what the software is already taken in goes to you, or something like that. Okay.
Yep. Just keep it open. You don't have to keep looking at the camera. In fact, you could change windows, do whatever, but it's processing on my side.
Okay.
And so it's going to prevent me calling you and saying, "Hey, can you open up that window again?"
Okay.
So that's all.
Sure.
All right. Thanks, Bob. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.